principles has become all the more essential in the context of recent and ongoing conflict. The Council must seek to resolve conflicts and disputes, not merely manage them. It should address the underlying causes of conflicts, such as foreign occupation and suppression of the recognition of rights of peoples to self-determination. And in accordance with their obligation, under Article 25 of the Charter, member states must implement the decisions of this very UN Security Council. The Security Council must act not only after a conflict has erupted, it must act preemptively to prevent and avert conflicts before they occur. The Security Council should be enabled to meet automatically, without a procedural decision, on any item which is already on its agenda, if so requested by a Council member or a concerned state. The Secretary General should be less resident in exercising his authority under Article 99 of the Charter to draw the Council's attention to impeding threats to peace and security. And no party to a conflict or dispute should be able to refuse the Secretary General's good offices whenever these are offered, nor to reject recourse to the modalities for the specific settlement of disputes prescribed under Charter 8 of the UN Charter. Madam President, the Security Council should no doubt reflect contemporary global realities. The most significant changes in global realities is the emergence of a UN membership now composed by 193 mostly small and medium-sized states. They need to be equitably represented through the expansion of the Security Council. Adding new permanent members would numerically reduce the opportunities for the vast majority of the United Nations member states to be represented on the Security Council. We must adhere to the principle of sovereign equality of all, not the superiority of some. Surely we all believe that a further democratization of the United Nations, a further democratization of the UN Security Council, of the UN General Assembly, is what would empower this institution, would provide it with the moral authority to act. It does not serve the purposes of the United Nations to add more members to this elitist club, to expand the power of the tyrannical veto. It would serve this institution to further democratize, to allow for the principle of the sovereign equality of all and not the superiority of some. In the past, the Security Council has been unable to act due to differences among its permanent members. Adding new permanent members would multiply the possibility of paralysis of the Security Council. The problem cannot be the solution, and surely states which have a record of not implementing the resolutions of this very Security Council cannot be considered worthy of consideration for any form of Council membership. The proposal of the Uniting for Consensus group to create 11 additional non-permanent elected seats to the Council offers the most realistic option for an equitable and early reform of the Security Council. The UFC model would provide equitable representation to all member states and regions, including Africa. Periodic elections would enhance the accountability of the Security Council members. It would numerically and politically expand the influence and role of elected members in relation to the existing 5 permanent members. It would preserve the principle of sovereign equality. Madam President, all our endeavors to promote world order, peace and stability will come to naught unless we can realize the Charter's second objective, universal social economic development. As a result of the COVID pandemic, raging conflicts and the more frequent and ferocious impacts of climate change, Nearly 100 developing countries are in extreme economic distress. Pakistan has convened a ministerial conference of the Group of 77 in China tomorrow and day after to adopt a plan for emergency action and systematic reform in the international financial, trade and technology architectures to ease the suffering of 1 billion people in the global south and realize the sustainable development goals and environmental objectives. Finally, Madam President, in your concept note, you call on us to advise and suggest and ways and means to move the multilateralism reform agenda forward. There is an agenda item left unaddressed, Madam President, that we believe is a multilateral agenda, that is an agenda of this UN Security Council. If we want to see the success of multilateral institutions, the success of multilateralism, the success of this very council, then surely you can aid in this process and allow for the implementation of UN Security Council resolutions when it comes to the question of Kashmir. Prove that multilateralism can succeed. Prove that the United Nations Security Council, under your worthy presidency, can succeed and deliver peace in our region. I thank you.
I give the floor to His
بلاول بھٹو
Excellency.
زرداری نیو یارک میں سلامتی کونسل کے زیر اہتمام بین الاقوامی پائیدار امن اور سیکیورٹی کے عنوان سے مباحثے سے خطاب کر رہے تھے. انہوں نے کہا کہ آج دنیا کو بہت سے چیلنجز کا سامنا ہے. کوپ 27 کا انعقاد بڑی پیش رفت ہے. بین الاقوامی سطح پر انصاف کے لیے اقوام متحدہ پر ذمہ داری عائد ہوتی ہے. انہوں نے بھی کہا کہ دیرینہ تنازعات کو کونسل کی قراردادوں کے مطابق حل ہونا چاہیے. ناظرین، یہ تھی پی ٹی وی تازہ ترین.
ویلکم بیک ویورز. جمشید چیمہ صاحب، سر میں آپ سے جاننا چاہوں گا، چارٹر آف سرٹینٹی کی بات کی ڈاکٹر خاقان نجیب صاحب نے، اور آپ نے بھی کہا کہ جو پیسہ ہے یا جو انویسٹمنٹ ہے وہ پولیٹیکل سٹیبلٹی کو بہت زیادہ، سرمایہ کار جو ہیں فرینکلی سپیکنگ وہ اس چیز کو بہت دیکھتے ہیں کہ پولیٹیکل سٹیبلٹی کتنی ہے. تو سر یہ چارٹر آف اکانومی کی بھی بات ہو رہی ہے، چارٹر آف سرٹینٹی کا نیا نام آج جو ڈاکٹر خاقان نجیب صاحب نے دیا. کیا میں آپ سے جان سکوں کہ آپ لوگوں نے جو پنجاب اسمبلی یا کے پی کے حوالے سے فیصلہ کرنا ہے، ظاہر بات ہے وہ آپ کی پارٹی کا ایک اپنا ڈیسیجن ہے، ڈسکریشن ہے، آپ کی صوابدید ہے. صدر صاحب بھی جو بات کریں گے اس پہ خان صاحب کا جو جواب ہوگا وہ علیحدہ، لیکن ایٹ لیسٹ کوئی ایک اکنامک روڈ میپ پہ نہیں اتفاق رائے ہو سکتا ہے کہ آئندہ 10 سال کے لیے یہ جی روڈ میپ ہوگا